For 18 years, he believed he knew his best friend better than anyone. They met in college, celebrated promotions together, stood beside each other during life's biggest moments, and shared the kind of friendship most people spend a lifetime searching for. If someone had asked him, "Would you trust this man with your life?" his answer would have been immediate, without hesitation. Then, one ordinary Tuesday afternoon, his phone rang. The voice on the other end belonged to a woman he had never met. She asked a question so strange that he almost laughed. "How long have you known my husband?" He smiled politely and answered, "Almost 18 years." There was a long silence. Then she quietly said something that made his entire world stop. "That's impossible, because the man you're talking about doesn't exist. The person I married has a completely different name." At first, he thought it had to be a mistake, but over the next 48 hours, he uncovered a truth more shocking than he could have imagined. Two names, two identities, two completely different lives, and one terrifying realization. The man he had called his best friend for nearly 2 decades had been wearing a mask from the very beginning. This is the story of how one unexpected phone call exposed 18 years of deception and forced a man to question whether he had ever truly known his closest friend at all. Some friendships are formed by chance, others become family by choice. He met Daniel during their first year of college. They were assigned as roommates, and within weeks they became inseparable. They studied together, survived difficult exams together, celebrated graduations, and supported each other through failed relationships, career changes, and every major milestone life had to offer. For 18 years, Daniel wasn't just a friend, he was the brother life had never given him. If someone had asked him who he trusted most outside of his own family, the answer would have come without hesitation: Daniel. He never imagined that everything he knew about his closest friend was built on carefully crafted lies. Daniel had an unusual way of making everyone feel important. He never forgot birthdays. He always answered late-night phone calls. Whenever someone needed help moving, fixing a car, or simply needed someone to listen, Daniel was the first person to show up. People admired him, neighbors respected him, co-workers trusted him. He was the kind of person everyone believed they could rely on. Looking back, there were small moments that never quite made sense. He rarely invited anyone to his home. He disappeared for days with vague explanations about business trips. He kept different groups of friends completely separate, always saying it was easier that way. At the time, none of it seemed suspicious. Everyone has private parts of their life. Or so they believed.
One quiet Tuesday afternoon, his phone rang from an unfamiliar number. He almost ignored it. Instead, he answered. A calm woman's voice asked a question that immediately caught his attention. "How long have you known Daniel?" He smiled and answered proudly, "Almost 18 years." Silence. Then the woman spoke again. "Are you sure you know him?" Confused, he laughed nervously. "Of course I do." Her next sentence made his heart stop. "Because the man I married 12 years ago doesn't use the name Daniel." For several seconds, neither of them spoke. He thought she had the wrong person, but she knew details that only someone close to Daniel could possibly know. His birthday, his college, his car, even the scar on his left hand. Every answer only deepened the mystery. Curiosity quickly turned into disbelief. Over the following days, he began searching public records, social media accounts, and old photographs. At first, the evidence seemed impossible. Then it became undeniable. The same face appeared under two completely different names, two driver's licenses, two workplaces, two social circles. He discovered photographs of Daniel celebrating holidays with another family in a city more than 200 miles away. Different clothes, different hairstyle, different wedding ring, different life. The man he had shared nearly 2 decades of memories with had carefully divided his world into separate realities, making sure none of them ever collided. Until now. The confrontation came a week later. When asked to explain, Daniel didn't deny any of it. Instead, he quietly admitted that he had spent years living under 2 different identities. He claimed it had started with one small lie, a fake name used during a temporary job years earlier. One lie became another, then another. Eventually, maintaining 2 completely separate lives seemed easier than telling the truth. He convinced himself that he could keep both worlds apart forever. He was wrong. As the conversation ended, his best friend realized something even more painful than the deception itself. The man he had trusted for 18 years wasn't entirely real. Some memories were genuine, some kindness was sincere, but the identity they had all believed in was carefully constructed. Walking away that day, he wasn't mourning the loss of a friendship. He was mourning someone who had never truly existed. And perhaps the greatest betrayal wasn't being lied to. It was discovering that the person he called his brother had been wearing a mask from the beginning. At first, this story sounds almost impossible. How can someone maintain 2 identities, 2 social circles, and 2 completely different lives for years without anyone discovering the truth? The answer isn't usually intelligence, it's psychology. People who successfully hide major secrets often rely less on elaborate plans and more on understanding how trust works. Most of us assume that the people closest to us are telling the truth. We rarely investigate the stories of someone we already believe we know. Trust is what makes healthy relationships possible. Ironically, it can also make deception easier to hide. Psychologists use the term compartmentalization to describe the mental process of separating different parts of life so they never collide. In everyday life, compartmentalization can be healthy. People separate work stress from family life or leave personal problems at home while focusing on their jobs. But taken to an extreme, it can become a powerful tool for deception. A person living a double life carefully builds invisible walls between different identities, different phone numbers, different social circles, different routines, different explanations. As long as those worlds never meet, the deception can continue for years. The lie survives because each group only sees one piece of the puzzle.
Another important psychological concept is impression management. Most people naturally adjust their behavior depending on the situation. We speak differently at work than we do with close friends. But someone living a double life often takes this much further. They become experts at reading what other people expect to see. To one group, they appear responsible and dependable. To another, adventurous and spontaneous. Neither version is completely false, but neither tells the whole truth. Over time, the performance becomes so convincing that even the people closest to them rarely question it. Many people wonder why no one noticed sooner. The reality is that friendships are built on trust, not constant investigation. When someone has been reliable for years, the brain automatically gives them the benefit of the doubt. This is closely related to confirmation bias, our tendency to notice information that supports our existing beliefs, while overlooking information that challenges them. Small inconsistencies are explained away. Canceled plans become busy schedules. Missing weekends become business trips. Private behavior becomes just the way they are.
Looking back, the warning signs seem obvious. At the time, they rarely do. Living a double life doesn't only affect the people who are deceived. It also places enormous pressure on the person telling the lies. Every conversation must be remembered, every schedule carefully managed, every mistake has the potential to expose everything. Many people who maintain long-term deception describe living in a constant state of anxiety, always fearing that one unexpected phone call, one misplaced photograph, or one chance encounter could cause both worlds to collide. Eventually, the emotional weight of maintaining the illusion becomes almost impossible to carry. No one can wear a mask forever without it beginning to crack. The greatest danger of deception isn't simply that it destroys trust, it destroys certainty. When a major lie is uncovered, people begin questioning every memory they once treasured. Was the laughter genuine? Were the promises real? Did the friendship ever truly exist? The answers are rarely simple. People are rarely entirely good or entirely bad. Someone may have shown real kindness while still hiding painful truths. That complexity is what makes betrayal so difficult to process. The lesson isn't to become suspicious of everyone you meet. It's to remember that healthy trust is built on honesty, consistency, and accountability, not appearances alone. Sometimes the strongest relationships are not the ones that seem perfect. They're the ones where no one has to pretend to be someone they're not.
When he walked away from that final conversation, he wasn't just leaving behind 18 years of friendship. He was leaving behind the version of a person he thought he had always known. The hardest part wasn't discovering the lies. It was realizing that every memory now carried a question mark. Every road trip, every celebration, every late-night conversation, every promise. He began asking himself the same question that so many people ask after a deep betrayal. Which parts were real and which parts were only another performance? The truth is, he may never know. Because people are rarely defined by a single moment. Someone can be genuinely kind and still be deeply dishonest. Someone can create real memories while hiding an entirely different life. That is what makes deception so painful. It doesn't erase every good memory. It forces us to see those memories through a different lens. But perhaps the greatest lesson isn't about the friend who lied. It's about the friend who survived the truth. Healing begins when we stop searching for the person we thought they were and start accepting the person they chose to become. We cannot control the choices other people make, but we can choose how those choices shape our own future. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is let go of the version of someone that existed only in our imagination. Because peace doesn't come from understanding every lie. Peace comes from accepting the truth, even when it hurts. If this story made you reflect on trust, friendship, and the hidden sides of human nature, we'd love to hear your perspective. Have you ever discovered that someone close to you was living a completely different life than the one you believed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy true stories that explore the psychology behind real human behavior, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because every story has two sides, but only one truth.